Priester is an author, she's a motivational speaker, and she's also someone who is living with a disability that came about after a bicycle accident that happened to her 40 years ago. She was hit while riding her bike, and Christy has an amazing story to share with us that's inspirational and motivational and educational, so you absolutely want to tune in and watch our interview with Christy Priester. Take a look. Well, thank you so much, Christy, for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with the Elevate Talk show today. We really appreciate you sitting down to have this conversation. I have a lot of things I want to pick your brain about, so I'm going to get straight into the interview. First, I guess what I want to ask is, can you share with my audience a little bit about the backstory on your disability? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Back in 1986, that's when I was in a hit and run bicycle accident.
Oh my.
Yes. And it's funny because my husband and I were talking about it this morning, and he says, you know, those people, that lady who hit you, you know, they're gonna really, you know, suffer for that, you know.
Sure.
And I told him, I said, well, you know, I believe it was an accident. It was an accident. And
Right.
I don't think anybody intentionally, you know, ran me off the road or hit me on my bicycle.
Right.
And I also, through this experience, learned that everything is in divine order.
Wow.
Things happen for a reason.
Wow.
And for a purpose.
Wow.
You know, and prior to that, it's so funny. I had been living a life, a really interesting, quite a life.
Yes.
And prior to that, and I'm writing about it in my book,
yes,
that's coming out soon, that I surrendered myself to God.
Yes.
I wanted to change.
Yes.
I wanted a change in my life. And I wanted to do something with my life that was really viable with helping other people.
Sure.
And, you know, it wasn't meant to be this.
Right.
You know, I didn't ask for being in an accident.
No, who would
Yeah,
ask for that? Right.
No, yeah, I sure didn't ask for that. But this is how God chose to use me.
Yeah.
So I've learned to accept that. And it has been, I still have the most fulfilling, happy, enjoyable life that more than what I could ever even imagine.
That's amazing. I just think that your attitude is just an incredible one. And that was one of the things that I got from you when we talked a couple of weeks on the phone. I thought to myself, I've got to talk to this woman because I just think that she has so much to bring and to give to people. So I'm so glad we're having this conversation. So tell me this, what enabled you? I mean, you're so positive, you're so inspirational. What enabled you to stay positive and keep going after the accident? I mean, you know, can you share with us? I want to get behind your eyes to see how you are seeing life. What enabled you to be able to do this and be this way?
You know, I think what enabled me is to allow the principles that God has put here for us to learn.
Yeah.
Acceptance is one.
Yes. Yes.
Learning to accept the cards that I was dealt.
Wow.
Learning to accept that, you know, despite, you know, these challenges and being physically disabled and being a wheelchair user.
Yeah.
In many ways is very challenging.
Oh, definitely.
It is a struggle. It's a challenge. But being able to accept it and still see the beauty of life that God has put here for us.
Wow.
You know,
that's amazing.
I love children. Yes. I got into, you know, I went to school for early childhood development with the hopes of opening my own daycare center.
Right.
Well, nobody would hire me after I went through school, you know, because I'm in a wheelchair. I was even denied going to school. Okay, social worker was saying, well, you're a liability risk. So, you know, child development may not be what you want to go into. But I've never been one that was easy to
Yeah.
Influence about when I already had my mind made up to do something.
Sure. Wow.
And so,
so you had to push through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a challenge every step of the way. However, being able to still see the beauty that God's put here for us to see.
Unbelievable.
Children, I love where in my home I get to sit out and look outside.
Yes.
And see the birds, and in my backyard's full of trees and nature.
My.
And I've come to really have the respect and reverence and appreciation for this time God has allowed me to continue to appreciate.
Wow.
What He has created for me to absorb.
And I think that's a key, what you've said. I think you really, really touched on the key of Thanksgiving, of appreciation, of just really embracing the good, even with everything that has happened. You seem to really focus on the positive. And I guess that's what keeps you positive.
Yeah.
I think it's where our focus is, don't you think?
Yeah. I'm either going to try to be happy about life, or I'll be sitting here crying all day.
This is true. This is very true. So you do, and I think that's a real message to those who are listening, that we have a choice. We can choose.
Thank you.
We have a choice, and you've chosen happiness. And
yes.
And what a joy you are. So let me ask you a question. What, you touched on some things just now about how you were, even when you were trying to go back to school, the social worker told you, I don't know if that's going to, early childhood education, it's going to be the thing for you because you could be considered a liability risk. I mean, just that one thing alone speaks to the challenges that you face. But what are some examples of support and services that you think are helpful to people with disabilities? I mean, you've already walked through this. So can you share with us some examples of services and support that help people who have disabilities?
Well, the first support, which is the first of everything, is, I believe, your family support.
Of course.
When you have your family support,
right,
that makes your life, makes it more, more doable.
Definitely.
The challenges to be able to do.
Definitely.
I remember my mom, before she passed, she told me one of the things she was really, really happy about, and she was able to die in peace, was because during my accident, they wanted me to go back to Minnesota and live there because they felt like I was going to need total care.
Okay.
And my family, they said, would be the people that should be, supporting me and helping me with that.
Right.
But I had been in Atlanta for close about 5-6 years.
Right.
And I'm allergic to cold weather.
Oh.
I'm allergic. I grew up in Minnesota, and I told my mom when I turned 18, I'm living this God forbid place.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I could not fathom the idea of living there in 5 feet of snow.
Oh my.
8 months out the year.
Yeah.
And I love my family. I want to be with my family.
But you didn't want to live in that kind of climate. No.
And I wanted to continue to be independent,
right,
self-sufficient, with my life. I didn't want to be a burden on my family.
Right.
What if I didn't have a family?
Sure.
What if I didn't have the support?
Yes.
How was I going to make it? So those were the things and thoughts that I had to consider, and which made me determined to, I could do, I knew I could do this.
Wow. So now you talked about family support. So what specific things, okay, so you ended up staying in Atlanta and not going back to Minnesota, but so how were they able to come alongside of you, especially at a distance, or did you have other people here in Atlanta that helped you?
Well, at the time I had one sister here and some other family members too. And they were supportive. They were very supportive and open to assisting me with what I would disclose to them that I needed.
Right.
And my family back home was
Yes.
also very supportive, from the distance.
Sure.
But
Sure.
then I learned that God, everybody, lots
Yeah.
of people became my family.
Sure. Sure.
My closest friend, who was, I called her my play mama.
Yes.
I wrote a poem for her called Mother, Sister, Friend.
Oh,
That kind of sums it all up, what
sure.
she was to me.
Sure.
She was my family here in Atlanta that adopted me.
Sure.
And I mean, reaching out to your neighbors,
Yes.
people who are just in your environment.
Sure. 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 Sure.
Are your support.
And what are some specific things they did to help you?
Well, they were there for me. My play mom, when I needed somebody to talk to.
Okay.
She was there. She was there.
Okay.
To listen. She was there to advise me.
Yeah.
She was a supervisor for the sanitation department of Atlanta.
Yes.
Yes. My mother was a senior accountant for a big insurance company.
Okay.
So being able to talk to people who were in positions and experience with dealing with problems, from people, I was able to get really good advice as to how to deal with the issues that I was having.
Sure.
With home health care.
Sure.
With relationships in school and trying to go back to work and things of that nature.
Right.
So you're the nucleus of the family is your real support. Then you have your outside organizations, Shepherd's Spinal Center.
Oh, yes.
Specialty Hospital.
Yes.
That, oh my goodness.
Yes, they're amazing.
Yes. And I learned how to live, how to be a person who could make it in the wheelchair.
Wow.
Their attitudes about helping people to transition.
Yes.
From one lifestyle to another.
Sure.
Phenomenal.
That's amazing. I've heard wonderful things about them. Yes.
It is just so being able to align yourself with organizations.
Yes.
That are specialized in dealing with the type of issues that you will have after a disability. Sure. Is pertinent.
Yes. And there are lots of resources out there. The Shepherd's Spinal Center being one, but there's tons of resources out there.
Adapt through the state has several advocacy organizations and programs. Yes. Your state always should have something in place.
That's good. That's good. And I want people to hear that because there are people who are just beginning this journey, Christy.
Oh gosh, yes.
And they don't know. You've lived this life now. You've done, you've gone through all the changes, and I'm sure there's still always things to deal with, but you're at a very different place than someone who may just be at the beginning of their journey. So it's encouraging to me to know that there are so many resources out there.
Absolutely. Yes. And then, you have to be the advocate for yourself too.
Wow.
You are your number one, advocate.
Yeah.
For yourself. You have to learn to be more what we call assertive.
Really?
Not passive and not aggressive.
Right. That's right. That's
about getting what you need.
Yes.
To take care of yourself.
Yes.
To make sure that you have the things that you need.
Wow. Was that something that you had to really learn to do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And it's something, through this pandemic.
Yes.
This pandemic was a whole nother ball game.
Oh my God. I can only imagine.
Done.
Yes.
But I was in the transition at the beginning of this pandemic of getting a new wheelchair.
Okay.
And what normally took in the past only, a couple months to do.
Yeah.
Literally took almost 2 years to get done.
goodness.
and to get a new wheelchair.
Oh my
I
goodness.
just got the last part in
Yes.
for my new chair that I just got about a year ago.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
still not completely together.
Wow.
But you know, you have to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
You have to learn to be the squeaky wheel that
Yes. Yes.
oil.
Yes.
You have to learn when to do what you need to do
Yeah.
and how to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
those things are very important
Yeah.
when,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, advocating for yourself.
Yeah. I think
then-
that's. Mm-hmm.
And then what you pull into resources, you know,
Yes.
connect to your government officials,
Sure.
people who really can get on the phone and say,
Yeah.
okay, I have a friend here
Yes.
or a constituent here that needs a wheelchair.
Wow.
And this chair has been on order for a year. What is the whole?
Oh, I know. Wow. So you even
know.
tapped into that, sounds like.
Hey,
Yeah,
I say
you said
if you have
whatever
to
I
go
had
to
to
the-
do.
right. If you had to go to the president, that's who you go to.
That's great, Christy. I think that's a powerful, powerful message. And I think that sometimes, particularly as women, we may feel a little tentative about doing that kind of stuff. But I think, like you said, you have to be your own advocate.
Yes.
Because otherwise you'll end up missing out on very vital opportunities.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, I
you have
love
to-
that. I love
Yeah.
that. So now, you know, you talked about family, the ones in Minnesota, the ones here. You mentioned about your husband. I'm curious to know, how has your disability affected those relationships, particularly the ones in your household or the ones that are here in Atlanta, but just any of your family relationships? Has it changed things? How has it affected that?
Well, like people in the world, the way things affect people,
Yeah,
it always affects people differently.
true.
Nobody's affected the same. I have one sister, you know, the one who's right up under me.
Yeah,
She shared with me about a year ago
yeah,
that she feels it's taken her almost, you know, 25, 30 years to really accept
yes.
me being in this wheelchair.
Really?
Disabled, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she's, you know, she and I were bikers together. We used to ride from one end of the city to the other.
Oh, wow.
And you know, she, you know, I can't say which sister took it the hardest.
Yes,
I think the one that was here,
yes,
you know, kind of went in shock
sure.
about it because she's the first one to have seen me.
Yes,
And, you know, if we try to talk to her now about that day,
yes.
she still just, she don't want to talk about it. She says she gets angry, she gets
Really?
frustrated because of how she saw me in
Oh,
the emergency room with my
Yeah.
head busted open,
yes,
blood
yes.
all filled in the table, and you know,
Oh,
she just went into shock.
sure, sure, sure.
Yeah, she has
Yeah,
they all have dealt with my disability in their own ways.
wow, wow.
You know,
I think that is eye-opening what you just shared, about
Yeah.
how different family members, different sisters in your case, dealt with it, and how the one sister, the one who saw you initially, still after because it's been 40 years, right?
Yeah. I try to stop counting because I still say I'm 20 something. I don't.
But you girl, you look amazing. But you know,
I'm telling you.
yes,
Now I can't put my glasses back on because I don't see.
yes.
I don't feel 62.
But you look fabulous. Fabulous. You like, where did that come from? Where did that number come from? Wow. But yeah, so
I'm grateful.
but all these years later, she still struggles with even talking about it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
quite something.
And now it's a kind of different struggle with them
Yes.
because the sister who actually saw me after the accident, who they called,
Yes.
she works out at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
And her struggle now, in her perspective, is having me as a sister with a disability.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody she encounters,
Yes.
she deals with them especially
Wow.
because she says she feels like she lets people know,
Yes.
you know, I have a sister in a wheelchair,
Yes.
and I'm gonna treat you like I would want somebody to treat
Oh
you.
my. Boy, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal, don't you think?
I think so too.
That's amazing. So this changed her perspective on how to treat people. That's
Absolutely.
amazing. That's amazing. And so I want to make sure we get this in. I want you to talk to us a little bit about your bicycle safety campaign. You've been doing that for quite some time. I know you have a newsletter. I know you have a book that you're currently writing. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Okay, well, one of the things I started doing, I was a publisher of a child care magazine for 15 years.
Oh, okay.
And one of the things I did to try to give back to the community was the bicycle safety training.
Okay.
And so I started out by just sending out letters to some of the local schools in my area and telling them I'd like to come out and talk to the kids about, you know, wearing a helmet, how important it is to wear a helmet, and teaching them about the laws and safety issues of riding a bicycle.
Sure.
Because with all things taken in account, I really know and believe that had I had a helmet on, I'd probably still be walking today.
Wow.
You know,
that's big.
Yeah. I know for sure I at least wouldn't have had the 50-something stitches in my head.
Of course, that's true.
You know, where I almost busted my brain out and could have had severe, you know, mental illness and brain injury from that.
Right. That's right. Wow.
So it was just something that naturally came in place to do.
Wow.
And I didn't do it for the money. I wanted to, you know, make the program exciting.
Yes.
And, you know, kids would just really take in the message.
Sure.
And be the teachers if they had to,
right.
You know, with their parents and letting them know they need a helmet.
Absolutely.
They need to be safe.
And that's one of those things we're going to be talking about and giving out actually at the bicycle repair clinic. We bought several helmets and you're going to be helping us with that. So we're so excited about that.
I am excited too.
Yes.
I'm so excited about that too.
And so you've done that. And so you've been doing that now for several years, haven't you?
Yeah, I primarily was doing it when I was in operation and publishing the magazine.
Okay.
Because many of the schools utilized my magazine. I had a child care magazine that featured a daycare center directory, which was designed to help people find quality child care.
Okay, that's right.
And it was designed to help daycare businesses to upgrade their services.
Oh, wow.
So we can start ensuring more quality care for our kids.
That's great. That's great. That's great. And now tell us a little bit about your book.
Okay, my next book coming out is called Thankful, Grateful, and Appreciative.
Oh my, that's great.
Spiritually elevated story and poetry.
Oh, what a blessing.
Yes. Very much excited about this book. It's my 5th book.
Oh, wow.
You know, that actually I'm putting, it's a story and a collaboration of my poetry.
Okay,
together.
Excellent.
You know, in case unless I pick up a publisher that's gonna change the format around.
Yes.
You know, that's always
a thing. Yes, that's right. That's right. Well, that sounds exciting. It sounds like you've got lots of projects and things going, and you're just a mover and a shaker, Christy.
I am trying to, you know.
That's great. And so we're gonna be wrapping up, but before we do, what final word of advice or encouragement would you give to someone struggling with a disability today? There's a lot of people out there struggling, and you mentioned the pandemic, which has made things even more difficult for a lot of us, and particularly for people who might be dealing with a disability. What word of encouragement can you say to someone today?
I would say to people that you know, I love that phrase. Jesse Jackson used to say, keep hope alive.
Amen.
You know, keep
Yeah.
your hope alive.
Wow.
Because there is, you know, there's a better day coming.
Oh my.
There's a better day coming.
Amen.
And there's always, whether you were not disabled or not.
That's right. That's right.
You know, you are always going to be faced with some type of challenges and struggles.
You're right.
I say, you know, the disability community is one of those communities that they say, you know, we don't discriminate.
Right. Right.
You know,
right.
Anybody can be a part of our community.
Yeah, that's right.
And
that's
it's a beautiful community.
Oh, wow.
We have seniors
wow.
that, you know, are aging, that
Yes.
need to be loved. We
Yes.
have children
Yes.
that are out here learning how to deal with, you know, their special needs.
Yeah.
I had a little mentor, his name was Morgan Stewart.
Yes.
Who was in a wheelchair and had SMA, spinal muscular atrophy.
Oh, wow.
He was told that he wouldn't live past 5 years old.
Oh my.
But he's now, I believe, going on 12.
Oh my, what a blessing.
You know, and you're talking about a character.
Really?
The city of Covington made him an honorary police officer because that was his dream, to be a police officer. And he has lived and fulfilled his dream and fulfilling more.
Yes.
So
yeah,
hold on to your hopes and your dreams and your aspirations.
That's a beautiful
disability doesn't disable you from being what you want to be.
Amen.
Some people, like I say, it's helped me get places much more faster.
Yeah.
I say, if I'm going down the street, they say, you better move out the way because I'm trying to get there.
That's it.
I tell people all the time, don't let me hit you. I don't have no insurance, no tag.
No. Get out my way or get run over. That's hilarious.
Right.
Well, you know what? That is such a good word about keeping your hope alive. Absolutely. That is such a word. That's a beautiful end to a really, really inspirational conversation. Christy, it has been such a blessing. we're looking forward to having you at our event. And so we will be talking again. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule today to talk with us. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be able to share, and I'm looking forward. I'm so much looking forward to Saturday.
That's great. Well, we'll see you. We will see you soon. Have a great day. Thank you.
You're welcome. See you.
Bye-bye now.